Jaguarrrella, center of imagination. Welcome again, the wild, the wacky, and the whimsical Mago Jaguarrella in Teeth in Cloud Forest. And tonight, episode 8, David discusses governance.
Hello, everyone, again. Oh my gosh, it's been a while. Welcome again to Tea in the Cloud Forest. Yes, indeed. Episode 8, here we are. It's been a little while. We had some technical congestion the last time with the conundrum of technology and its keyword tonight, today, it's daylight, is governance. Alright. So, for those of you that think this is a fake accent, we're on stage and camera. I could have any accent I want. Alright now? So, and it just so happens that here in the Cloud Forest we get a little high with a little help from our friends. So, here we are. Ides of March just came and went. Today is St. Patrick's Day, so we want to take a moment to honor the taking a sip of poison and blowing the venom off, and then drinking it, transforming it, transmuting toxicity into cleansing and healthy good vibrations. So here we are, moving along into March. Indeed, ever since we are wee little people, up until now, there begins a system of laws and governance. It's said that these days we are governed by minimally 4,000 laws in any given moment. That's a hell of a lot. Now I think some of myself, I may be governed, we'll say, by 200 laws, and most of those might be what is referred to as sacred law. So, let's just call me governor here today. I tried to have on a sort of judgment wig, back in the day. We have beings here knocking, it's windy out today, and the birds lack a little bit of self-governance because they attack the windows, they attack the seemingly mirror of themselves in aggression to control their mating. So we put up a little disco dance for them to ask them to mellow out a little bit. So let's put on our governor hat here. And later on in the show, we had a very special guest come and visit us. And that guest will appear here in just a few moments. Alright, so there are many books, and I'm going to take off these glasses because I can see you all better out there. Don't you think that I don't see you, because I've been getting fabulous correspondence that some of you are actually getting these programs and the work that's involved with them. And honestly, again, if you're not having fun, you're not taking any of this seriously enough. Now, I don't mean go into delusional, party till you drop, entertain ourselves till we die syndrome, the essence and qualities of entitlement. Now, that's going to be a whole show, because we wonder if we're getting what entitlement is. In the state of the dire pickle, and somebody laughed at me the other day, pickle. Now, pickle means conundrum, some sort of incongruency that's out there. And, no offense to the pickles, we like pickles. Alright, So we're given many books that govern us as children. There's the books of religion, there's the books of rules when we go to school. You know, pee in the toilet, that's a pretty interesting rule. You don't want to pee on the floor when you're in school. Some of us did, and we got into trouble because we broke our first rule. Don't pee in your pants. Well, it's not always that easy, now is it? Especially when you're a child. So, governance. Now, one of the keys is that we have the ego, which we've been discussing about, and the ego is it perceives, and the ego wants to control perception and reality. And there are many out there wanting to control your reality. Oops, we forgot one thing here. In order to control this reality, we again have to start the attention span monitor. So I've been told it's been lowered from 15 seconds to 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, some of you are out. And those of you that want to linger in here today, alright, so this is my governing outfit. I want it to look solemn and a little more serious. So here we are, governance. Now that is a system that is being invited for all of us to re-explore in ourselves and in the systems that are governing us. There's the policing, there's the legal, the congresses, there's the presidential, there's the kings and the queens. We have so much fun with our type of queen, I think, don't you? Alright, so, well, let's see now. So, governance, laws. Now, what would be laws in nature? Well, some say sacred law. Universal law, the law of one, that we are all connected. There is no separation. So everything out here. Hello tree, hello grasshopper, hello poinsettia, which is called flor de pastor. So all these plants have a way, an energy field of self-governing, something that in the human state of consciousness and perception has been battered and hammered and flogged out of us so that we look for something to govern us, so we don't drink too much, so we don't drive too fast, so we don't contaminate things with our gluttony, and not the gluttony-free diet. We like the gluttony-free diet, otherwise known as the gluten-free diet. Following me? I'm not here. So, self-governance exists out here in the sense and the qualities that things are growing. So if you look at a tree, it's essentially being governed by light, by the sun, by the movement of light and the vibration of light. It's also being governed by the flow of water below, the flow of rain, and even so much so as the energy of the winds blowing around. So in this, there becomes the invitation of a state of equilibrium, which is our next show. We'll dive into equinox and the balancing. So governance again. Now we wake up in the morning, we get out of bed, and there's a system of memory and neurons that pop into our mind about what we should and shouldn't do based upon first, don't hurt ourselves, don't kill ourselves, don't hurt someone else. Now that's a good energy field to start with, which is more on the laws of principles, the energies of principles. So we have laws that limit us, and then there are principles that invite us to do the right thing, to act upon common sense. Now, let's just breathe that in for a minute. Common sense. Could we, in fact, be governed by common sense? Because the invitation is, as we put so much outside of ourselves, in democracy, which is in quite the cauldron of reforming itself, as we gave up so much of our power to television and the media and to revised religions Now, if we go back to the core religions, they were states of sacred law, a lot of them. Do the right thing. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. In most cases, that works out. So, in governance, my dears, as we go out in the Ides of March, because we've been a little backstabbed by our ignoring the collective shadow. Shadow asks us to govern sides of ourselves that falter or stumble into delusion or narcissism, which we brought up a few times here, or overextending our desires. Oh well, what the hell, I'll drive 100 miles per hour on the road, even though we're in traffic, or something like that, where common sense kicks in and says, no, that doesn't feel right. Does it feel right now to go and take a vacation in the dry month somewhere, as I posted before? For example, we're in the driest month here in Ticolandia in Central America. Many people come here and they take their cozy showers, or in Puerto Vallarta, they take their cozy showers in their hotel rooms or their Airbnbs, Airbnb, and without realizing that there's a system of governance of water, and people are not being able to have water to cook and to take showers themselves in the laboring communities. So this is this slip into shadow, into false governance, into entitlement, these episodes of, well, we're not governing ourselves. We're putting ourselves out. Well, nobody told us we couldn't take a shower. So why haven't we dropped into common sense? Common sense, self-governance, sacred law, the law of one, everything is connected. That water that came in and washed us, could we just take better care of our hygiene for that day? Maybe that day the shower is in the ocean or in the river, or we sponge bath a little bit, or something like that, with the realization that others during dry months in some of these areas, like India, which is running out of water with over 1 billion people, and we're creating more and more babies. And years ago now, I know this could catalyze a few people out there, but I grew up in the 60s, the 1860s, time traveler, and we grew up with a little magazine called The Weekly Reader. Now, how many of you may remember that? Weekly Reader. So I was counseled, governed as a child. Perhaps that may be why I'm gay. I don't know. But about the essence and qualities of population. You have many species out here that begin to self-govern when they think their population is out of control. We have a human population out of control. Queer people are beginning to evolve to help us to self-control our population and the governance around that, rather than having these crazy situations like vaccinations, which are toxic, and militarism and wars, which the governing energies are trying to impose upon us to limit the populations, when we can do that gently ourselves. We could go to countries like Sudan, where they're having to choose which child to feed right now, while we go and we feed ourselves steaks still, with massive quantities of deforestation. It's really a time to check in into principles of self-governing. What feels right inside? Many of us have done a lot of work in Vipassanas. We've done a lot of work in meditation, and we're invited now to dive in a little bit deeper about privilege, the governance of privilege and greed. Can we give a little bit more? Could we give, perhaps, the invitation right now, 5 years of our life, step out of those careers. They were fun and interesting. But could we give a couple years to a project and have fun, like such as we have here at our beautiful sponsor, Jaguarrrella Center of Imagination. Now, we're about ready to step out here and invite in our beautiful, wonderful, magical guest who had a few words to say themselves around governance. Shall we invite in our wizard, our magician, known here as MERLIN? Welcome, MERLIN, everyone. Hello, darling. Here you are in the cloud forest. Oh, they do come and go so quickly. Now, dear MERLIN, we're releasing this on the Ides of March.
Yes.
And so much posturing and reposturing about governance.
About who?
Governance, governor, presidents, leaderships, rules and sacred laws. Alas, and wonderfully, do you have any last or wild moments of wisdom you'd like to share with us on what the hell is governance and laws, rules and rules and rules? Any ideas, darling?
Governance. Governance begins within, just like everything else. I must learn to govern myself, to govern my choices and emotions, and my choices in what I do in my world. But beyond that, governance around me is very tricky because it is not perfect. Governance will not be perfect, but it can get pretty darn good. Yeah, so when governance is disturbing, and when one has the feeling that everything is just going to hell in a handbasket, to use an American expression, have faith, because that will change. Like everything else, that governance will change. My self-governance will change as I grow. The governance of the government will change as we all grow together. And the governance of the homes and lands that we have a certain degree of control over, we can establish a feeling of love and welcome and allow for an environment where people feel empowered and uplifted when they enter our homes and walk on our lands. And that degree of governance in the local spreads out. The more people do it and becomes excellent global governance in the long term.
Oh my goodness, MERLIN. Indeed, may we all learn to govern ourselves better. Thank you so much for your lovely visit and popping in and popping out with us in tea with Mago Jaguarrella in the cloud forest. Come and visit us again anytime, my love.
Hello, here we are. Indeed, right here. This is a way to govern, perhaps for many, many years, thousands of years ago, literally, the language and governance of astrology, of the stars.
And here's a little bit of self-governance. Rather than let the bananas spoil, we're looking at the governance of food for the future. Look at that. Instead of rotting bananas, we're going to have dried bananas of all kinds. Oh, right, my dears. Well, that was wonderful blast here to have a visit from such a special wizard. Now that's just what life is like here in the cloud forest. Now one last sip of this tea.
And let's take a moment and consider when we're governing and re-governing and in this mixed in this cauldron, this Saturn essence, diligently looking at how we want to be governed and to govern in this world.
One aspect is to invoke the empathic eye, and that is to perceive every action fairly and objectively, and moving into an quality of whatever we're doing, is it for the welfare of all the others who live around us? And I mean all the others. The snakes, the owls, the bats, I saw Newt the other day.
And all these other creatures. So now, thank you for joining us again here in the Cloud Forest. Episode 8, Governance. Episode 9 coming up for the equinox and beyond.
Stay with us now. Thank you to all the audiences out here of metaphysicians, and those of you, stay tuned to lunar magic. Thank you again. Tea in the Cloud Forest with Mago Jaguarrella. The last judgment is arriving.
The